morning, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another live edition of Wealth Building Wednesday, brought to you by TRHT Selma. TRHT stands for Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation. We are an initiative based in the historic city of Selma, Alabama. We exist as a partnership between the Black Belt Community Foundation and the Selma Center for Nonviolence. We are excited about Wealth Building Wednesday because we are a platform that allows folks from all across our community to be able to tap into resources, y'all. We all want to have this thing called wealth. Everywhere you turn, there's information about how to get rich or be wealthy. This is not a get rich quick scheme, right? This is an opportunity for us to engage in meaningful conversation and really help to bridge what we know is a wealth gap in our country. We know that folks who have skin tones that are beyond, that are brown or considered Black, right? That there's a wealth gap that exists in our families. And so we want to make sure that we close that gap again by equipping us, all of us, regardless of our race, creed, color, religion, belief. We want to equip everyone with valuable tools to help build wealth. So it is without any further ado that I'm excited to introduce our guest this morning is Brielle Bryant-Erales. Say your last name for me.
Erales.
Erales. Okay. Brielle Erales is an expert that I found. She did a workshop recently through the Black Belt Community Foundation, through Tuskegee University, and we are super excited to welcome you here for Wealth Building Wednesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So I want to just quickly allow you some space to kind of tell us who you are, because when I found out, and I'm a Googler, so when I got the email about the workshop that you were doing through Tuskegee and the Black Belt Community Foundation, I said, oh, well, let me figure out, who this lady is. And so you have a program, you have an initiative called the Healthy Wallet. So you're the founder of it. You're a financial planner, a financial coach rather. And so want to find out more about the Healthy Wallet. Why the Healthy Wallet?
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. I went to school in Tuskegee. So I went to Tuskegee University, and I accumulated maybe like 40 something $1,000 of debt, of student loan debt. And no one told me what to do with that after I graduated. I was just thrown into the real world. So after I graduated, I moved to Boston and had to figure it all out, paying bills and also trying to manage debt or whatever that looks like. So I graduated 2018, May, maybe like September of 2018, I took a financial course where they talked about hating debt, creating a budget, learning about investments and all these things. And that was just eye-opening to me because I didn't know that you can pay off your student loans like in shorter period than like 10 years. I thought you like had to stay in debt for the rest of your life. I thought that debt was a part of life. I didn't know that you could pay cash for your car. I didn't know really much about finances. So taking that class definitely was an eye-opener to me. And also learning how to do with other people, because I feel like no one really talked about money in my friend group or just around me. So just having a community in the financial class that I took was definitely helpful. Like we're all talking about similar things. Like we're all struggling with our finances, and to find people who are good with their finances and able to help us, I was just like, wow, like this is something that I needed a long time ago. Like, why am I finding this out after graduating from college when I already accumulated this debt? So yeah, I was on the debt-free journey. So I paid off my student loans, I paid off my credit card, I paid off my car as well. So total, that was about $51,000. And so I paid that off in about 3 years. Because of taking that course, because of setting financial goals, and because, just learning how to delay gratification. So that was definitely helpful. So I realized my passion for finances from that course. And I was like, maybe I could start like a little passion project or like a program. So I started doing that October of 2020. And it's been a great experience just being able to teach people who look like me, teaching women how to have a healthier relationship with their money, have a healthier wallet, and not, I don't know, not make it awkward. Like, I love talking about money. I look at my bank statements like every day. It's not like because I'm like anxious. It's just because like I just want to see where my money is going, how much money is coming in, to keep track of my finances and my budget. So I feel like that's definitely been helpful to me. So I just want to teach other people the things that I've learned for myself and like how I was able to pay off debt and how I was able to create a budget. So yeah, that's why I started the Healthy Wallet.
Well, this is really great to hear, because in a short period of time, literally during a time when many people were panicking, right? Because of being financially strapped, during the pandemic, you have managed to put together a what you call a pet project, but I believe is going to eventually evolve into a thriving financial coaching firm. You've managed to be able to connect people, and like you said, help folks, especially Black folks and women, connect to real information, like practical information. So when you consider your personal journey with finances, you talked about the student loan debt. And let me just be clear, y'all. If you are watching or listening to this information, understand that a part of the wealth gap is definitely the lack of financial resources when it comes to earning degrees. Student
Mm-hmm.
loan debt by far contributes to the wealth gap that we see in our country. And if you look at data, it points to the fact that Black women tend to hold more student loan debt than any other segment of our population. So it's really, really important that we take note of that and that we start to work against that, right? Let's turn the tide, especially for Black women, as we emerge in our areas of expertise. So when you consider your own personal journey with finances, how were you equipped, or do you feel like you were equipped a little bit? I mean, I know you spoke to the fact that you didn't have a lot of knowledge, but
Mm-hmm.
what are some things that you didn't feel like you had when you were growing up, and conversations that your parents or grandparents didn't have with you about money?
Yeah. So one thing I forgot to mention, just to go a little backwards and then come back forward,
Okay.
was during my debt-free journey, I paid off I paid off like the $51,000, making under, I feel like this is an important thing, making under $60,000. So like some people assume that, oh, you paid off $51,000, you probably made over $100,000, you're probably making a lot of money. Like, I was not making a lot of money. Like, I was making under $60,000. And then also I was not living at home. I had bills and I live in Boston. So like, I just wanted to, talk about that. Like, it wasn't because like I made all this money. I also had a passion project, so I made money for that as well. So just wanted to add that, because I feel like that's a helpful factor to some people. But yes, growing up, really wasn't talking about money, wasn't something that my family did.
Mhm.
I realized that my mom was a spender and my dad was a saver. So I feel like being extremes in both are bad. Like, if you're extreme saver, that's bad because you don't enjoy the fruits of your labor. If you're
Mm.
enjoy like extreme spender, then you don't save for like emergencies, and it's just like, so I feel like both extremes were bad, and I feel like kind of my parents were kind of both. And I tend to lean more on the saver side.
Okay.
So like, I remember growing up, I would like put all my money in like my piggy bank and not really spend it. So like, that was kind of my tendency growing up, just like, okay, I just want to save just in case something happens. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to like be a burden on anyone. So growing up, that was just like my natural tendency, was to save. Um, and yeah, like even in college, I remember I had an internship. I was making like $15 an hour, and somehow I was able to save $4,000 in like three
Mm.
months. Also, I lived with my sister and she was paying for the food. So I didn't really have much to pay for, but I was just like, I need to save all this money. So I remember even saving when I was in college. I was in my junior year. So just saving for that. But no one really taught me about it. I was just like, I just
Okay.
need to save. And I feel like that also came from, I remember freshman year of college, my phone was cut off. I had like 20 cents to my name, and no one could send me money because they already sent me to school. So they had to pay for my flight and like pay for school. So like no one had extra money to send for me. So I'm just like, I never want to experience that again, having 20 cents to
Yes.
my name and my phone being cut off. So I feel like that also contributed to me having like a hoarding mindset. Like I need to hoard this money. I need to save even more because I don't want to be a burden to like my family. Um, so yeah, growing up didn't really learn much, but my natural tendency was to save. And then that definitely helped when it came to paying off debt, but also learning how to like enjoy life too. Like I don't want to be extremes at anything. So learning how to have a balance was definitely something that was helpful after I paid off debt. Well, I was still traveling while I was paying off debt, but I made plans and like goals and things like that. Like I didn't just use one whole paycheck or get back into debt. Like I made sure that I prepared financially for these trips. So long story short, no one really taught me. My dad just told me like, oh, get a credit card in case emergencies happen. No, that was about it.
Well, I think that a lot of us have that in common, that we learn by what we see rather than actually the conversations that are being had, say, around the dinner table. Even when we think about things like life insurance and things like that, Black folks don't really talk about a whole lot of that. Right, we may have life insurance policies, we may not have life insurance policies, but
You'll find
nobody
out
wants to.
once they're dead, and then you're like, we need a GoFundMe.
Right. Right. And so in order for us to not be in those situations, to not have our children and grandchildren strapped with our debt, it's important for us to really talk about the building blocks, or setting forward a foundation of, and or a different type of relationship, building a different type of relationship with money. Like you said, not being an extremist in either direction, right? Want to, the whole check is spent before we get it, or or saving the whole thing. It's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
How many rainy days can you have,
Yeah.
right? But we want to be able to make the right choices, because choices have a lot to do with whether we are able to acquire and accumulate debt. I mean, wealth rather. So speaking of debt, though, why do you think it's really important, or most important, for us to practice and even teach young people in our lives good habits when it comes to spending and accumulating debt?
Yeah. I feel like it's important to like start these habits early on so it becomes natural instead of getting into debt and having to figure it out once you're already there.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like for me, definitely creating a budget, no matter how much money you have, like creating a budget. So whether that's, if you like make $1,000, like listing that out, and then listing out your expenses, and then after that, subtracting your expenses from your income, and then seeing what to do with that leftover money. And I feel like that's the main problem. People don't know what to do with that leftover money once their bills are paid. So I recommend either putting that extra money towards your savings, putting that extra money towards debt, putting that extra money towards your goals or things like that. But that's the plan. Like creating a budget definitely helps you keep track of every dollar that you make. So I feel like that's definitely a good habit to learn as soon as possible, instead of just making money and then spending it frivolously on random things. And I feel like even as adults, like, and as like in high school, learning how to delay gratification. I feel like a lot of people are just like, oh, I want this now, so let me buy it now. But learning how to wait for things, like maybe possibly waiting 24 hours before making a purchase, like maybe not shopping on Amazon because you find yourself like
Get off
overspending.
my porch! Look.
Exactly. So I feel like that's a lot of things, like a lot of the struggles that most people have is like not learning how to delay gratification. And I feel like society kind of like, I don't know,
Ease into it.
enables us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, buy this now and figure out how to pay for it later, or just put down $5 now and then pay the other $5 each month for like 5 years or like what? So just I feel like as adults we need to learn how to wait for things. And I feel like as a child you're just like, oh no, you're impulsive when you're a child, but as a adult we should learn how to not be impulsive. We should learn how to like have self-control and self-discipline, which I'm also still learning. um but yeah, so that's something that I feel like young adults should learn and adults should learn is how to delay gratification and not be impulsive, and how to have self-control with your money and waiting maybe 24 hours before making a purchase. Or if you want to buy something from Amazon, if you know that you have a habit of buying things that you don't need, maybe just going to the store instead. Like, okay, let me just make a list, write down a list of things that I need from Target or Walmart, and let me drive there instead, because I know when I go on Amazon I buy things that I don't need. So that's what I find helpful. I don't really buy things from Amazon unless I absolutely have to. But yeah, just making sometimes things more difficult for you to spend because you know that it's if that's a challenging area for you. So yeah. And then the second you said something about accumulating debt, like
Yes.
not getting into debt. And like what if you have a credit card, if you are already in debt, stopping there and trying to set goals for yourself. So for example, for me, I knew that I wanted to pay off my debt by October 2021. So I wrote down October 2021 I'm going to be debt free. So I worked backwards from there. So for example, if it's I think I started being more aggressive like April of 2020. So I paid off the last $34,000 in 18 months, making under $60,000. So I was just like, okay, let me write down this date and try to find out ways so I can pay off this debt. So I think in order for me to pay off that debt in 18 months, I think I had to put about $2,000 a month. Mind you, I don't even know how I was going to do that. I don't even know. I didn't even make that much money.
Wow.
But there are ways that money would come, like, for example, me leading lessons, financial coaching services, and maybe I'll get $700 from there. Maybe I will lead a workshop and I'll get like $1,000 from there or something like that. So money would fluctuate. But for my main job, I didn't make that much money to put $2,000. So definitely having a side hustle helped me. But setting a date and working from there. If you just say I want to be debt free or I just want to pay off my student loans, that's just a dream. But if you have a date with it, then it's a goal and that's something that you can work towards. So that's something that I found helpful.
So there are several things that you said that I just kind of want us to reiterate. One of the very first things that you said was about delayed gratification, and our children seeing that if we do not know how to delay our own gratification, then our children will model that behavior, and in a number of ways. Right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
always going to be reflected in money and how they develop spending habits. It could literally be their behavior when they don't get something they want, or they don't get
Mm-hmm.
it immediately. So there's this backlash. I have a very close friend in New York who had a child really, really early in life, right? And spoiled, like she admits, like she was like, oh my God, I did it, Lydia. I know that I did that to him. And as he grew older, he became a young man who started committing crimes in order to,
Wow.
yeah, in order to get what he had been made used to, right, as a child. So it's important, though, that we really, really think about the precedent that we're setting. Had a conversation with a dear friend on yesterday. Grandmother always said, don't start something that you're not going to be able to continue. So when we change our habits, let it be something that truly does become a habit, right? That our
Mm.
children see us delaying our own gratification to say, okay, well, mom wants to buy a house, so I'm not going to keep buying we're not going to keep, buying all of this food from fast food restaurants. We want to cut back, right? And having those conversations because it's real, right? And then setting a date. You told us that an important thing that we can do is to establish our goals, set a date, right? And get a side hustle. Listen, multiple
Mm.
streams of income is the way, right? 2020 showed us a whole lot of things, including the fact that it's going to be important for us to not depend solely on one income. That doesn't mean get married just to have another income. That means that you do exactly what Brielle has done. and take what you're passionate about and turn it into a way to produce income, right? A side
Mm-hmm.
hustle. Yes, we have a viewer, Chanel Nevins. Yes, a side hustle is super, super important, right? If you want to pay down some debt, what do you love to do? You like to bake cakes? Let's see if you can get a cottage license, right? So that you can bake cakes and sell them to folks. You like to cook or cater in general. Let's see if you can partner with a business that already has a kitchen that you can use as a commissary kitchen, so that now you are a legal business owner. You can now apply legally, right, for supplemental funds to assist your business and for grants and things like that. And you can start to build wealth, pay down debt, and build wealth. So now what about investing? What do you consider some of the most, because I did hear you mention investing along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you consider the most important investments we can make?
Yeah, so I'm not licensed in investments. So I can definitely give you the things that I do. So I definitely do less risky investments, which is like 401k and Roth IRA. But I feel like one thing, even though this doesn't really have to do with money, but it kind of does. One thing is this sounds cliche also, but invest in yourself, like invest in your health. Like one thing that I've learned about myself and like learned while living in Boston was how your health is more important than anything. Like I feel like I went to school in Alabama. We ate fried chicken every day. We ate. The only way I would eat a vegetable was if it was fried. The only color on my plate was, well, actually, bowl was Fruit Loops. So, like, I definitely was not eating healthy in Alabama, but I feel like it's also important to invest in yourself, investing like in the quality of the food that you eat. Um, because your health is also your wealth, and like it means nothing to have all this money and your health is deteriorating. So definitely taking care of yourself. But when it comes to like investing in things, I feel like, or investments, I feel like for me personally, I rather do the safe stuff like the 401ks and Roth IRAs. I'm not really comfortable with the cryptocurrency and all that other stuff. People can do what they want, but for me personally, I'm not going to do that. I don't really understand it. And that's another thing. If you don't understand something, don't invest in it. Just because other people are investing in it because it's so cool and all those things, that's one thing I do recommend is to not invest in things that you don't understand. Ask people questions, ask financial advisors who specialize in investments questions before you put your money into it. And don't just do something because a financial advisor told you to do it, but do it because you understand what you're doing. Um, so that's something I just wanted to add on, like my 2 cents about like your health is your wealth and investing in that. And then also like finding things that you understand. But for me personally, I started to invest after I paid off my debt. I found it helpful to focus on one thing at a time. So I wanted to pay off my debt first and focus solely on that and then start investing. But some people can do both. Some people can invest and pay off the debt at the same time. But I'm like, no, I have a goal. I'll be okay if I hold it off for like 2 more years to pay off my debt first. So that's why I wanted to add.
So now, just to again reiterate something you just said, in some things that you just said, doing your research is important, and not engaging in any type of investment practices that you're not familiar with, that you see the cool commercials or what have you. But if you don't understand what's going on, whether it's the stock market or cryptocurrency or what have you, if you don't understand what's happening, that's even with the Roth IRA, the difference between a traditional versus a Roth, right? 401k versus what policies or what accounts can be set up if you're a small business owner, because a 401k is connected to actual, a larger job, like you're working for someone, but you can also set up similar accounts when you are working for yourself.
Yeah.
So doing your research before investing is super important. But the one thing you said, and I really in my mind knew that you were going to say that, because it really is, it sounds like a cliche, but it is
Mm-hmm.
super important for us to invest in ourselves. Right, taking
Mm-hmm.
time away, even if investing in yourself and investing in your health means that you need to go to the restroom at your job and just do some deep breathing, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
you are feeling the wind come fully into your chest, and your belly is moving as a result of the breath that you're taking, and that we're not just drawing these short breaths in order to make it through. Like deep breathing can help, right? If it's 2 minutes of deep breathing that can help improve how you feel, then do that. Invest in yourself, invest in more education if that's what you want to have, certifications that are literally free. There are trainings that Google is doing that can help you get jobs that will help you earn over $85,000 a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Attending free workshops, investing in yourself by watching Well Building Wednesday and sharing it with other folks, right?
Yeah.
So investing in yourself can take shape in many, many different ways. So I'm glad that you did go there, right? Because it's important that our
Mm,
health matters, how we spend our time, because time is the one resource you can never get back,
yeah.
right? Once our time is up, once that number is called, we can't get it back. So what are we doing with our time each and every day, and who are we spending that time with? So now I wanted to before it's time for us to get out of here, wanted to ask about financial coaching, because I've seen and heard about financial coaching, um credit repair, and all of these different type of services that are out there. What does a financial coach do?
Yeah, so we're basically like a financial accountability partner. So like someone who can keep you accountable in your goals. So if your goal is to pay off like $1,000 of your credit card by within 3 months, like we'll keep you accountable to see like, hey, how are you doing? Or if your goal is to have an emergency fund of $1,000, we'll see like, hey, how are you doing with your goals? And like seeing if you're updating your budget, because I feel like definitely updating your budget is helpful so you can see where your money is going and how much you are actually able to save. So we basically help you with the basics of personal finance and helping you develop and have healthier relationships with your money. And we kind of like empower you and give you hope and things like that. So I feel like that's something that I found helpful for myself, is just having a financial accountability partner. Um, so yeah, basically someone who just keeps you accountable and like helps you and sees how you're doing with your goals that you set, because I feel like it's easy to be not, actually most people aren't self-motivated, so it's good to have someone who just checks in on you, asks you questions, see if you have any questions and things like that. So yeah.
So, want to make sure that people who are interested in learning more about what you do, and how you do it, and if your services might be of interest to them, how do I get in contact with you?
Yeah, so my email address is thehealthywallet with two T's for wallet at gmail.com. So the healthy wallet and then wallet with two T's at
Mhm.
gmail.com. So you can definitely email me there and I can like send you like the packages that I offer, the programs that I offer. So I have a 4-week program, a 6-week program, and an 8-week program. So that's something that I find helpful to make sure that it's consistent, because if you just meet like once every other month, then it's like, how do you actually growing your knowledge, or how do you actually become consistent if it's not that consistent? So meeting weekly is definitely something that I find helpful, every other week at least. So definitely emailing me to see if you're interested, and I can send you the packages that I offer. Or if you work for organization, I'm definitely interested in like leading workshops to help people as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So you can definitely reach out to me via email.
Awesome. So that again is the Healthy Wallet, and that is WALLETT at gmail.com. If you are viewing us live on Facebook or on YouTube, you can also see that on your screen. It is in the chat box. So the Healthy Wallet at gmail.com, you will gain access to Brielle and all of her expertise, her life lessons. Y'all, this is the age of information, right? And so when we learn something new, it is our job to share that something new with someone else. And accountability, I know it's a scary
Mhm.
word for some of us, right?
Mhm.
But being held accountable for our behaviors is super important when it comes to wealth management, in order to pay down debt. Somebody who's calling us to the carpet to say, hey, so did you really need the $500 pair of shoes?
Mm.
If your rent is the same cost as your shoes, there's a conflict. I'm just saying. Maybe
Yeah,
it's just me. Right,
yeah,
right. Or if your shoes cost more than your rent. Oh my
exactly.
goodness. Come on now.
And I guess like one thing I did want to end on was
Mhm.
that I think it's also important to have an abundance mindset instead of a scarcity mindset
Yes.
when it comes to this financial journey, because I feel like a lot of people are just like, oh, I don't have enough. Like, oh, like, woe is me. I'm a woman. Oh, I'm Black. So there's not that many opportunities. Like, no, don't go into the victim mentality. Like, you are not a victim. You can
Yes.
do this. I was able to do this, not making that much money, living on my own, living in Boston. So I just want you to have an abundance mindset, knowing that there are so many different opportunities, there are so many different ways to learn. Just because your circumstance might be difficult doesn't mean it's impossible. So don't have
Absolutely.
a scarcity mindset, have an abundance mindset, knowing that you can do this. Um, but definitely help this process go more smoothly. So that's something I
Absolutely.
wanted to end off on.
And what a perfect way to end today's episode, Brielle. I just want to thank you. I want to encourage everyone who has been watching or if you're listening. Mindset matters. That is the
Mhm.
giant nugget that she is leaving with us today. So if you are interested in developing and building your wealth, we want to encourage you to reach out to Brielle Erales. She is at The Healthy Wallet, The Healthy, WALLETT at gmail.com. Please reach out to her. She has a wealth of information, personal experiences, and she can help hold you accountable, y'all, because mindset matters. Set your mind towards abundance. We're not living in a season of lack. We will attract the wealth that we truly desire. So, again, thank you so much for being here with us this morning. Thank you to all of you all who have tuned in. Wealth Building Wednesday airs each and every Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, live on Facebook and on YouTube. And if you're listening via the radio, you are tuned in at 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on our media partner, WBFZ 105.3. We want to thank everyone who makes Wealth Building Wednesday possible, including you, and yes, you. So we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday right here for Wealth Building Wednesday. Y'all enjoy.
Thank you.